Hi everyone, it's Dead Figueroa back here with another episode of the Cerebral Palsy and Fitness podcast. I'm here with Chelsea Bear. She's a disability advocate, a spokesperson for various companies, and she will tell us about her story of overcoming CP, her enthusiasm and her charm, and how she's influenced so many people around the world as a social media influencer. And I'm happy to have her here today. Welcome, Chelsea.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to jump in.
Awesome. So to kind of start, give me a background of what it was like growing up with you with CP. Were you diagnosed? Did it happen later on in life?
Yeah, so my story is kind of interesting. I know everyone with CP kind of has an interesting story. But so my mom had a pretty normal pregnancy and everything. Ended up having to do a C-section about a week before her due date just because how I was kind of positioned. But everything went totally fine. And, pregnancy was good. And it wasn't until I was about, I think, 3 months old, she started to notice at a mommy and me class that, I wasn't progressing at the same as the other babies. So that's kind of when my mom started to question things, bring me to, the doctor, just get a checkup, what's happening. And basically from then on, I had tons of tests, MRIs, CAT scans, and didn't officially get diagnosed with CP until I was 3 years old. Basically baby to three, my parents pretty much treated it as if it was CP, but didn't get the official diagnosis until then. And then anyone who's listening who's not familiar with me, my CP, I have spastic diplegia, and it only affects my legs primarily. So really just how I walk, I'm sure everyone listening is kind of familiar, but, I kind of drag my feet when I walk. I use a mobility scooter for longer distances. But yeah, going back to your question, growing up with CP definitely had its, challenges, especially when it came to, for example, my sister was really into dance growing up, and that wasn't something at the time I really could do. So just kind of figuring out the things that would work for me and what I was capable of and making them my own. And as, we kind of spoke about earlier, just being adaptive and figuring out, how I can kind of still interact with other kids, but in a way that is, I'm able to with my disability. But overall, I think it taught me a lot growing up with a disability. And I honestly wouldn't change it for anything, which is surprising to some people, but I'm sure you understand that as well.
Oh yeah, I'm a spastic hemi, so my right side of my body only is impacted. Yeah, I mean we both have a lot of commonalities as far as how it was growing up, dealing with people, dealing with kids bullying us, and we still deal to this day with ableism, like it's
Yeah.
an all-time high, but the
Mhm.
only thing we could do is just keep being positive and keep on smiling. And uh, to kind of go into that, I mean, every time I see one of your videos and somebody comments something so absurd, you always come back with like this huge smile on your face and this positivity. Is that something you kind of started on your own to kind of like go and
Yeah, so I kind of have always had that mindset. I think it's something my parents kind of instilled in me at a young age, just knowing that I'm going to face bullies no matter what. And I remember in elementary school, kids in the hallways making fun of me and me just thinking to myself, obviously it upset me, but still I'm like, they just don't understand. And I think that, that for me personally, having that perspective that a bully or an online troll, whoever it is, like they are saying these things because they don't understand. I mean, I'm not going to give them all that credit. I'm sure there are a few out there that are purposely just trying to put down other people, but I think for the most part, especially when it comes with disability, traditionally it's been this taboo topic that people are scared to speak about. And that said, a lot of people haven't interacted with people with disabilities. So when they see us, whether it's online or out in public, they don't really know how to react or what to do or what to say. So while, some comments definitely make me take a step back and I'm like, wow, this person, like, did they really say that? Like, that's not great. But for the most part, I like to look at it, this is an opportunity to educate as to why, what they said isn't the best thing to say. And, also just for me personally dealing with it, it's more of a reflection of them and how they feel about themselves than it is to necessarily what I'm doing. So definitely an ongoing battle, but I've always kind of felt, the way I walk, people are going to look at me. I just walking in a grocery store, all eyes on me. And I just always felt, they're looking at me. Why don't I just smile back at them anyway? Like, I don't want to, give them an angry face. I don't know. It's just something I've always kind of had in my head. So doing it on social media is just kind of the natural flow for me.
Was I guess was social media something that you ever think it would be this big, like,
No.
at all?
Absolutely not. But I'm still kind of catching up and, backtracking to understand how this happened. I'm so grateful that it did, but never in a million years could have imagined. I kind of launched a blog myself about 3 years ago just to kind of get some things off my chest, have like a cathartic outlet to talk about my experiences with my disability. And, while I would post on the blog, I'd post on Instagram. And it just kind of blew up from the pandemic. And I am just blown away by all of it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's incredible how much of we can use tools like Instagram and stuff to really promote awareness, and people always see the negative side of social media, but they never take the time to see what positivity you can do with it, you know?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
this is something that we've done for for a very long time, and you've done yourself. So I mean, I've been at it for 4 years, and it's always been difficult, but I've been working at it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of value in it, whether you have a ton of followers or just a couple. I've always felt that as long as what you're putting out there helps at least one person, then it was worth it. So I think this work is so important, and everyone that does it, like, yourself is just so brave to put yourself out there and speak about these things because, like I said before, people usually view these topics as scary and uncomfortable, but they just don't need to be. So the more that people are talking about them, the easier it gets for everyone. So
Awesome, awesome. And I noticed you were also, I guess, a spokesperson for various companies and organizations. And I noticed the other day that you're a part of, is it Zappos, the shoe company?
that was adaptive, yeah.
That is awesome. Tell me more about that. How did you get involved?
Yeah, so I actually connected with the team at Zappos Adaptive probably over a year ago now, just, connected, trying to build my relationship with them. And they're just kind of they're incredible people. All of them are super nice, super passionate about everything they do. I've worked with them on a few small projects, just kind of reviewing different products, seeing if they're adaptive, giving my feedback. And yeah, they came to me with this idea to work with them for Sorel footwear, their new kind of adaptive line for winter boots, where they have zippers on both sides, wider shoes. Just if somebody has AFOs to get their foot in, and even without braces, it's hard enough getting your shoes on, but so yeah, they came to me with this idea, and I loved the product. I loved the thought of working with them in this capacity and kind of just move forward from there. But yeah, it really just stemmed from my relationship with them, and kind of letting them know where I was at, and then I'm open to working with them. And obviously, we were both passionate about these kinds of projects, so kind of just came together at the right time. But really exciting campaign to work on.
That seems great, and I'm hoping as the years progress, we're able to break those glass ceilings that we've always been kind of left out of, because
Yeah.
there's we deal with a lot of misrepresentation and a lot of things that we do, and movies, TV shows, being an influencer, anything, you know.
Yeah, and yeah, and that's why I love that they, the even the shoe company, they wanted somebody with a disability to be modeling the shoes, and that right there, I think, is a step in the right direction because I think it would be easier to maybe work with someone who doesn't have a disability. I have my scooter, I need like help from point A to point B, blah, blah, blah. But like at the end of the day, it's the representation that matters. And they really made it a priority to have that in, the campaign. So I agree. Like we have a long way to go overall, but hopefully, every step is a little closer.
What are some of your like ultimate goals of what you're doing right now as far as the platform?
Yeah, so and now that I have this platform, definitely continuing to just speak about these topics, start these conversations, thought starters. I like my platform to be kind of like an open space for communication, and I hope other people are engaging with each other, finding resources. And for me growing up, and I'm sure but you can give your 2 cents there, but there wasn't really somebody I looked up to with a disability or that I really knew about. And I think social media gives us access to that now, where, even me, since I've opened up about my story with CP, I have met so many incredible people with CP that I never would have met before. So I think, there's so much power in those connections that social media gives us. And with my platform, just continuing beyond sharing my story, hopefully sharing others. I want to continue my Instagram lives where I'm, bringing other people on, sharing what work they're doing,
Right.
and working with brands to highlight the things that they're doing that kind of align with my values and within the disability community and all of that. But yeah, a lot of exciting stuff, a lot of ideas I have kind of on my mind that I'm excited to dive into a little more and see where it all goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it'll one step at a time. That's all it
Yes,
takes. And a lot of
exactly.
motivation. A lot of
Yes,
motivation and dedication.
yes.
What would you say to someone who is, I guess, I would want to direct it to, I guess, the female population as far as girls, young girls that are dealing with CP themselves, and that they're dealing with the self image.
Yeah. And I kind of spoke about this in one of my recent reels I did on Instagram, just because it is something that, I struggle with, I have struggled with. And I know on social media, it seems, everything's great, but I want to make sure I'm upholding that vulnerability and transparency. But, when it comes to self image, I think it's important to focus on the things that you do enjoy or you do love about yourself. For example, if you don't like the way, for me, for example, I used to like cringe at seeing myself walk in my reflection, like walking by a window or a mirror. I'm like, ew, I don't want to look. But now I've come to accept it and it's part of me and it is what it is. It's not ever going to change. So, I kind of just like put that all behind me. But, I think it's an opportunity to focus on the things that you do love about yourself. So I've always felt, I have a good sense of humor, and that's something that I kind of pride myself on, especially when it comes to dealing with my disability. There's definitely a fine line. I don't want to overdo it and kind of making fun of my disability, but it kind of helps. It's always helped me cope, and then also help the people around me kind of understand what I'm going through. Um, but yeah, short answer, just focus on the things you do love, say it to yourself every day in the mirror. And I think, building that trust and confidence with yourself in small ways can kind of escalate into the larger picture of, what you're trying to accomplish just with self-love and, appreciating yourself how you are and the things you cannot change.
I mean, that's all you gotta do. Like,
Mhm.
people, I tend to be the same way sometimes. Like I'll go and like be jovial and stuff, and I mean low key like make fun of myself, and they're like, "Well, why are you doing it?" I'm like, it's called loving yourself, you know.
Yeah,
And I think about Josh Blue when I first saw him on the Last Comic Standing. I'm like, you know what? I should aim to be more like that guy. You know, he's
yeah,
always his comedy centered around his CP. Why not, you know, enjoy what I have and embrace what I have? And it
exactly.
took me
Mhm.
until I was 25 to finally realize that.
Yeah, exactly same.
And fast forward 5 years later, and here we are. We're doing big things out here.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, same for me, you know, and that's something else I'll say, you know, my whole life I wasn't this open about my disability. It definitely happened, I'd say like around like 24, 25. So, you know, just anyone listening, just keep trucking and, you know, it'll happen at the right time, I think. So,
Right.
yeah.
Um, where can they find you? I guess my listeners to kind of follow you and follow your journey. And
Yeah, so I primarily post on Instagram and TikTok. I have Twitter too, but my handle is at Real Chelsea Bear. So pretty easy. I have a website too, chelseabear.com. So you could check out there. Don't update it as frequently, but it's out there.
awesome, awesome. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on and learning about your story, and I hope and I wish for bigger and better things for you.
Thank you.
And who knows, one day we might end up at another conference together.
Yeah, hopefully, and hopefully it's in person so we can
Right?
meet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been a long time since I did in person you know, speaking engagements, and I miss it,
yeah,
you know. It's not the
yeah.
same.
It's not. Yeah, I had my first one a couple months ago in person, and you know, I'm so used to doing the online, and it was just such a different experience. And definitely hope to get back to that one day.
Yeah, I'm a Floridian myself, so I actually live like near Orlando, so in that area.
Okay, yeah, I see your UCF shirt.
Yeah, I went to UCF myself, so
Oh, nice. Cool.
yep,
So
yep.
we're close. I'm in Tampa now, so
Yeah,
oh,
so it's pretty cool.
yeah.
Native Floridians making a difference.
Yes.
All right,
Awesome.
well, like I said, I definitely appreciate you being on, and it's been, uh, this is something that I take pride in. I take pride in being able to have people on and sharing their stories, and seeing the best of a somewhat negative situation that many people see us as, you know. And so
Yeah.
it's always wonderful to see us being successful, and show proving the world that if someone like ourselves can do it, anybody can do it. And that's
Yeah.
kind of a slogan that I've taken with me for the last couple of years, is if I can do
Yeah.
it, so can you, you know.
Yeah. No, I love that.
So yeah, I mean, it's we just got to keep on trucking, like you said, keep on trucking, keep moving. uh this episode, you're going to be able to find it on iTunes, Spotify, and any other major podcasting outlet out there that you can share it, and also on YouTube. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Chelsea, thank you so much for being on. You've been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I will see you all soon. Have a good one.